Do you ever
Yeah,
think
so
you'd
she
have so many options at 51?
definitely not. And I do kind of feel like it's one of these things where there's momentum that if you have no options, it's very hard to get like just the first
Mm-hmm.
going. It's like people saying you make the first million or whatever. And then once you have momentum, it seems like you just vibe a lot better. Maybe it's the rapport that you can create with women. It's a lot easier. Once you are at that level, it's not as challenging. And also, I want to thank Lilly for tweaking my bio or pretty much rewriting the whole thing because now I have just messages of people that came to me unsolicited, where before I would always have to do all the soliciting or whatever,
Good
writing
job,
myself.
Lily.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the number one sugar dating podcast in the entire world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily,
The frigid.
the frigid,
Mm-hmm.
no, the shocking stories
Shockingly frigid
of sugar
Arizona
dating.
weather.
Are you cold today?
It's cold.
We try not to date our podcast. We want them to be timeless, but we are in the dead of winter.
And I've been wearing my parka.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Lily has joined us via Zoom, but you sound great. You sound like you're right here. Got the professional
Awesome.
setup.
I'm there in my heart.
Yeah. So Lily, before we get to our guest, you just went on was it more than 2-week vacation? A little over? Or
It was exactly 14 nights.
14 nights in the Caribbean?
Uh-huh. And at least 2 days of travel.
All right. So tell us a little bit about that. You went with Trucker.
I did. It was magical. It was actually warm there and sunny, and we did lots of adventures. We went ATV riding and we went snorkeling.
Now, you were in Curacao.
Mm-hmm. We swam with the turtles.
What was the weather
And
like?
we were in a bus accident.
Oh, that's right. You sent us photos.
Yeah, it was
So-
pretty scary.
Is it summer there or is it just always warm?
It's always nice there. Their slow time is hurricane season, but they don't actually get hurricanes there, but it slows down. I think it gets really super hot there.
Okay. Yeah, it's close to the
So,
equator.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember what they told me the timeline for their slow season was, but it was popping for the holidays. We were there for Christmas and New Year's.
So how was a Caribbean Christmas?
Sunny, and people are wearing
Did
Santa
it feel
hats
weird
and
though?
bikinis. It did kind of feel weird, yeah. I've never traveled somewhere tropical for Christmas before. I've actually never not been home for Christmas, I don't think.
Yeah. All right. So the burning question I have, because I really haven't spoke to you much since you got back. Did it put a strain on your relationship with Trucker, or did it bring you closer, or do you feel like you came out of it kind of neutral?
We had never traveled for that long together before, but we lived together.
Yeah.
So it was fine. We did great. We had a good time.
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
no surprises.
Every once in a while, there's a little like disagreement about this or that. Like, what are we eating today? Which magical on-site restaurant did we go to today? I think they had like 5 restaurants, 3 food trucks. It was a sandals resort. It was really nice.
Good. I saw
Major.
this
We,
funny
I mean,
meme where this couple, the guy goes, the girl got into the car and he says, "You're never going to guess where we're going to eat today. You'll never guess it. Take a guess." And she's like, "I don't know, that Korean barbecue place." He's like, "Exactly. That's exactly where we're going." The whole time him having no idea where to take her.
isn't that just the hardest decision of the day?
It
Is
is.
either what are we cooking or where are we going to eat?
Right. Well, I'm glad you had a great trip. You got back safely, and
Mhm.
you went from the warm Caribbean to the cool winter. Even though we're in
Yeah.
Arizona, we have different elevations, and we still get cool here.
Well, Arizona weather was exactly perfect when we left,
Mm-hmm.
and it was freezing cold when we got back 2 weeks later.
Well,
Makes a difference.
fortunately, our weather only lasts a week or two, and then we're back to sunshine and blue skies and paradise.
It's gonna snow here, I think. I'm 3 hours away from Phoenix, and it's looking like snow.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Mhm.
speaking of snow, we have a guest who's from a very snowy state,
Oh yeah.
and we are going to welcome back Jay. He was on our podcast a few months ago, and I'm telling you what, Jay, I looked at the numbers today. Did you pay people to download your episode? Because it has outperformed like the last 20 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, you
Huh.
didn't know that. I haven't told you
I
that.
did not know that, and I wonder why. I wonder what things that we mentioned or talked about. I'm
I don't
curious.
know. I think, a lot of times
Yeah.
the title, I'll have a great episode or what I think is a great episode, but if I don't title it properly, it doesn't
Mm,
pique people's interest. I think I gave yours a really good title, and then, the stories and the content kept people listening. So, yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yours
good.
probably outperformed all the others in the last 20 episodes by about 10 to 15%. So,
Well, I
Wow.
have a feeling this episode's gonna outdo that episode
oh,
because our friend Jay has really been up to some shenanigans.
before we get into those, Jay was a sponsor of the party, and
Yep.
I haven't really got to talk to you much after. What were your thoughts after the party we had on Thanksgiving weekend?
Oh, that was amazing. I mean, that was like the best time I've had in years. And it's just not even just one day, it was multiple days.
Yeah.
The people that I've met there, I'm still keeping in touch with. And it's just some I'm hoping that would kind of blossom to more friendships and
Mm-hmm.
possible arrangements and whatnot. So it's been amazing. And it's just the idea that for all of us, kind of operating on our own, kind of in secret. And it's like an environment for the first time when you can actually express yourself, you can share ideas, you can kind of get support from others, especially that WhatsApp group. So it's been just fantastic, I think. Yeah, I still look back at the pictures and I think about the memories, and it was
I
amazing.
think before you left to go back home, you said, "Let me know when the next party is. I'm in."
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be the first to sign up. Yeah.
Well, good to hear because Bad Brad actually came into town back to Scottsdale. He was doing some business here, and we hung out. Alejandra and I hung out with him 3 or 4 days,
Oh,
and yeah, he was actually giving me a lot of great ideas for future parties, and yeah, so everybody's pretty fired up about getting the like-minded people together, and then the
mhm.
dynamic that they all experienced and felt was, I think, so just surprising to so many people. Not to me, not to Lily, because we expected everybody to get along, but it's just so nice
Oh,
and
so nice.
comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is a bond that we have that kind of transcends just regular people in the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's we have like this connection that in some ways only we know between ourselves. So that's really nice. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
All right, so you left us, and then what have you been up to?
Let's see, I'm trying to think. Oh, so I flew back to Spain and then I went to Austria as well. I'm not sure. So there's this, I guess, sex club that I mentioned in my last episode that I just thought it was a mind-blowing experience for any man that is
Well, you sent
sexually
me a
curious.
photo of one of the girls that you took an interest to, and wow, she was a
Yeah, she
doll.
looks stunning. I mean, I was literally just FaceTiming with her just like an hour ago, and she had no makeup on, and I'm still looking at her like, well, you look amazing. It's an interesting trip because I kind of have a sugar baby in Spain, and then there's that girl in Austria, and I've turned them into sugar babies, but they're not from the site. So it's kind of like whether they accept the sugar lifestyle, they don't even know much about it. I feel like in the sugar lifestyle, for most people, at least the beginning, they aren't really looking for a commitment. Whereas like I feel like the majority of population are. So therefore, to introduce the idea that like, oh, I have other people on the side, most people don't aren't that receptive to that. So I kind of have to tread pretty carefully. But at the same time, I feel like they look at it from the practicality aspect that, well, this person is providing for me in a lot of ways and has a lot of good qualities as well. So should I keep going with that? Or do you like throw everything out with a bath, baby with a bathwater or whatever? And just if that's not what you are agreeable to. So I had to tell the Spanish sugar baby that I was going to go see somebody in a very subtle way. I said, I'm going to go see a friend in Austria, but she figured it out.
Yeah.
So she kind of accepted it.
Now, how did you meet the Spanish one if it wasn't off of a sugar dating site?
Just a site that was just like a dating site.
Okay.
And she doesn't really, it became obvious that she didn't really have too much money of her own. And I pretty much like relocated her son, daughter, mother, father from Cuba to Spain. The condition in Cuba was very, very bad. It's kind of like Nicaragua or some of these Central American countries where you don't really feel safe. Food is not exactly abundant, and it's just kind of a bad situation, deteriorating. So I was able to move all of them over there, and I'm still
Now,
supporting
what
them.
did that cost you?
Oh, it's adding up, that's for sure.
Oh, it's still.
I haven't actually did a tally, but I'm kind of afraid to, because if I saw the total, I might be like dropping my jaw.
Ballpark.
Ballpark, I don't know. Let's see. So like to move them over, I would say it was about 7K, which is not bad for like 4 people.
Oh, wow.
Because she was already here. But once you start, then there are all these other expenses of like getting them a place to live. They have living expenses. I'm paying for their kids' private school, because if they go to a public school, they weren't sure if they'll get kind of like flagged by the system. So anyway, private school was a little bit safer. And she's trying to be financially independent. So she's trying to start this laundry business, run itself, and kind of generate a cash flow. So that's like another investment. But all in all, it's definitely a heavy price tag.
Okay, hold on.
There's a lot to explain.
Well, I've gotten stuck in situations before, similar, not whole families, but where I was actually supporting somebody, moved her into a house, I was paying the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
I was paying her car, I was paying her utilities, and then it ended up blowing up and not working out. And I couldn't just drop the ball on them because she had no way to pay. She was on disability. She had some back injuries. She was trying to work on the side. But anyway, her ex-boyfriend got really, really upset with me because I was tapering her off of my payroll, basically. It was just a tricky situation. I didn't want to leave her and her kids stranded when it blew up or it ended. It didn't really blow up, but we decided to go our separate ways. But I found myself kind of stuck in this situation. Is that a concern of yours at all?
Yes, somewhat. But at the same time, I feel that if she finds a man that can provide for her, that's kind of a little bit of my exit strategy. But at the same time, she really wants to get married because she's kind of dependent on me financially, and she's afraid that I would find somebody else that would kind of tell me to cut her off.
Okay, how long have you guys been dating?
Since like July of last year.
Okay, so 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And how old is she?
She's 36.
Oh, okay. So the age gap is not tremendous.
No, we get along pretty well. It's just that our lifestyles are so different. So I can imagine financially supporting her, kind of the same thing that you've done, but it's hard to kind of be her husband unless I decided to live in this town in Spain, which I don't know if I want to. It's not like another town where it's got a lot of things that I want to do. It just seems like a kind of a sleepy town. So it's like our lives are always going to be apart. So in some sense, I can financially support her to a certain degree, but for the marriage part, I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, like how long do you feel this is going to go on?
Yeah.
If you're, your relationship can only go on for so long without having to finally make a choice. Do I go left or right?
Right. Yeah,
It just can't stay status quo forever.
You're right. Yeah. So I guess we'll see as time goes by. And I talked to Lilly about the fact that, well, what do I really want to relinquish all the other situations that I have. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, variety is just the spice of life, so it just makes it so interesting and a little bit like podcast fanboy. It's kind of not a bad thing to have somebody that I can spend time with in every part of the world that I travel to.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
have
guys leave
so
a
much
different
to say
life.
here.
Yeah, go ahead, Lily.
I have so many questions and so much to say. First of all, you've known each other 6 months and she's already pressuring you on the marriage topic.
Oh yeah,
And she has a kid,
2 kids.
2 kids.
How
How
old are
much?
the kids?
One is 4, the other one's 13. So just to kind of fast forward, right before I came back, I finally met the family. So that was actually a really interesting experience because
Yeah.
so many people have told me like, oh, the family's probably fake. There's probably no family at all. And she's just trying to like run the tab up on you or whatever. I mean, all that's like unfounded. So I felt like if I met the family, then I can at least know for myself. So I actually met them and yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a real family. She
Mm-hmm.
loves her kids. They all love each other. They try to take care of each other. They're just in a challenging set of circumstances. So I don't really think that there's like this, like a crypto scam situation going on where there is not even a real person. It's not that at all. But it's a very different position when you're trying to make sure that you're going to have the means to survive as long as you can max it out based on your current situation. And I think it's easy for somebody to, I guess, say this is wrong if they're in a position where they have a very good job, they make good money. But it's like if you're trying to survive, the idea of lying or kind of dressing up a certain situation you've had, I mean, it's kind of debatable whether it's, the idea of right and wrong is kind of gray in my opinion. I mean, there's
Okay.
obviously flagrant things that are just completely wrong, but I can give her a lot of benefit of the doubt in terms of her situation.
And she's Cuban originally?
Yeah, she's Cuban,
And so do
but
they speak English, the family?
she speaks okay English. The oldest boy is learning English, and they're all going to an English kind of like school to learn more English. So the boy can speak to me in, just a few words that he knows, and I do the same in Spanish. But I can tell these 2 kids, they really do want a father figure. They like the idea that it's like I give them a hug and the hug is genuine. There are a lot of like the emotions are real. So I just think that people that are not in terms of like in this lifestyle, they often make a judgment while they're only after you for the money. And it's just so kind of binary, black and white. I just kind of find it's not like that. I don't think that, I mean, there are obviously bad people out there. There's scams out there. I see it all the time. But at the same time, there are just people that might have needs, but the feelings of love, the feeling of care, those things are real, even if they are coming from maybe a place of needing assistance or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So the children's father, first of all, do they have the same father? And what happened to the father?
so it's 2 separate men, and they have somehow ended up in the US, but they don't seem to have much in terms of money on their own. Like they'll send back like $100 each year, something to that degree. And then there's the one father married this other lady in Boston, and apparently the lady just kind of put the kibosh down and says you can't keep contact with anymore. So because of that, she's just had this experience of if she doesn't have the marriage as like an insurance, the guy can just cut her off and just ghost her, block her, whatever. And then her means of survival is like tremendously in jeopardy. So therefore, I
Mm-hmm.
think based on I mean, we're all the sum of our experiences. So therefore, based on that, she's like very nervous to not have any way of feeling financially secure with a person. And so far, I'm literally financing all 5 of them.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's another element. Her brother in Cuba, they're trying to get out. So I'm like paying for this like visa program. Yeah, it's like the bill
Oh
is
my
rolling
God,
up,
Jay.
that's for
That's
sure.
all I have to say is, oh my God.
Now,
Yeah.
what does she think your relationship is?
She's become more realistic about it. She knows I have options. And it's like we're not really together. And what I'm looking for in, I guess, in life is like some companionship and intimacy. So it's like I can't really go months without seeing somebody.
I mean,
I don't
does
know. It's
she
like,
refer to you as her boyfriend, or does she refer to you as her sugar daddy? What does she refer when she's talking to friends?
well, she calls me her boyfriend all the time, but she
Okay.
knows that I am kind of hesitant. You know, she would kind of almost like try to pigeonhole me into that position.
Hmm.
So, but she knows how I feel. I just think that her priorities are different than mine. You know, I am not in as much of a need as she is in terms of forming a relationship. So I have a feeling what's going to happen is that I would continually financially support her unless it becomes like just blew into some astronomical amount. I don't think I would ever cut her off on my own volition, at least. Whether there's somebody else that says like, well, you can't take money from this guy anymore, then it's like, well, okay, well, you know. But otherwise, I do have a bond to her and her family as well, especially her kids. You know, her kids
Oh
are,
yeah.
yeah,
How many times have you met the children?
just once. So I spent like 3 days with them before I came back to the US, just this last week, actually. Yeah.
Well, I
So,
know you like variety, spice of life. What happens when you find another one in a similar situation, and all of a sudden now you've got money going from here, going from there, and then
oh, it's already happened.
yeah, I know, right? It's happened to me. Like
It's
one time, I looked at my outflow of cash because I'm got 3 or 4 arrangements going at once, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It is. Yeah, it is. And honestly, like, this situation with the Spanish lady, her requirements, financial requirements are the highest by far.
Hmm.
But there's this other situation of this other family that I was helping before I went back over there in December. And it's a family of mother, father, and 2 kids. And they live in the US. They live about like 60 miles south of me. And they are kind of into polyamorous type arrangement, and it's totally fine. So I'm kind of supporting that family to a certain degree as well. Of course, that situation is not as regular, but I would take them to Costco and like it'll be like an $850 bill.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
it's like not one cart is enough, even if you fill in like the bottom shelf area, you know? And then besides that, sometimes she needs like help like 3K at a time.
Hmm.
And I don't know how long I can keep that going either. And then there is the Austria situation. And then there's just
So
various
what's the
sugar.
Austria situation?
The
So,
welcome girl.
oh, the welcome
Is
girl.
this the
So
one
I
that you
would
sent
have,
me a picture of?
oh yeah, yeah. So she, as I mentioned before, most of the girls that work at this, I guess, gentlemen's club all come from Romania because Romania is a poor country. And for them to come to Austria, and Austria is a very rich country. Like I go to the shopping mall and the mall is like nicer than the ones in the US.
Hmm.
So they can make a lot of money fast in theory and then kind of like just do this for a few years and they'll be done for that. And this girl is 23. I mean, I just find her just dropping, you know, eye dropping, whatever,
Now
jaw dropping.
remind us of your age.
I'm 51. I just turned 51 like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
So,
And I forgot to bring this up, but now's a good time. If you want to refresh, he was episode 119. I just looked that up. So,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to hear his first episode where we got into a lot of details of that. So, okay. So 51, she's 23. I'm trying
How
to
old is
think.
the Spanish girl?
She's
36.
36, he said.
36.
Yeah.
And how old is the polyamorous couple?
She is, I kind of don't remember, maybe like 32.
Well, he's got
Now, do
him.
you play with both of them or just the wife?
Just the wife, and I haven't done that yet. Just the wife, and she, yeah, it's her situation. Yeah, it's really interesting. So he tried to, I don't know if it's sugar dating that he tried, but he tried to go on this app called Feel, which is kind of for people that are into non-monogamy. And she said he couldn't get anywhere. And he also was going through depression, didn't have a means of income, like he just wasn't the breadwinner anymore. And she kind of became the breadwinner by virtue of other things that she did, as well as the sugaring thing.
Did you meet her on Seeking, or where did you meet
Yes,
her?
she did. I met on Seeking,
Okay.
and I met her kids too. Oh my God, the boy is so sweet. I'll send you guys a picture. He's like the sweetest little kid. And I do kind of think there is, I mean, I've never thought of having children, but it's like you do form a bond with the kids, and they're
Yeah, you
nice.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like part of the whole package. Like you're not taking care of just one person. And in that situation, you're taking care of the whole family. And that kind of makes me like when I look at the balance of different sugar situations I have, the ones that have a family, I feel I can give more because I know I'm helping more than one person. For both of those situations, the Spanish situation and this lady, I give them way more because I know I'm not just helping a college student or something, and there's children involved and they can't take care of themselves. They can't make money, so they're dependent on the parent.
Hmm.
So you do
Okay,
feel more
so we've
responsible.
got, let me see if I can keep track here. We've got the baby in Colorado. Is that where the polyamorous girl is?
Yeah, there's her, and then there
We've got
is
Colorado, we've got Spain, we've got Austria. Where
Austria.
does the girl fall in that you sent me a picture of who asked you for 80 grand?
Oh, so that's the Spanish girl, which I've said no to. Well, I kind of said to her, like, what amount do you think it would be one lump sum and you would be okay? She wanted to finish buying this laundry franchise business and it's like another 15K. And then she wanted to buy a house, the current apartment that she lives in, for 60K, which is actually kind of cheap
Yeah, that's
compared
very
to
cheap.
compared to Colorado or most of the country for that matter. To buy a place for 60,000, you would have to go to like West Virginia or something.
Is it a
So,
nice apartment?
oh, it was actually really good for me to see them and meet them because that apartment was not big. It was kind of cramped, and it's five of them, and they're hoping to add a sixth person, which is their brother from Cuba. But they were okay with it. I mean, they would felt that if they had the apartment, they would never be in the position of being, evicted or left homeless. This lady has said to me in text before that if you weren't there, would be out in the streets. And it's kind of like I thought about it. It's like, yeah, probably wouldn't be too far from the truth. Yeah, she can go get a job, but it's not like she can get a high paying job, so therefore what she can make is probably not going to be enough to support all five of them. So
And how old are her parents? Can they work?
the father is 78 and the mother is 68. So yeah, I
Mm.
mean the mother could work and so can she, but if there's somebody who's willing to pay for it, that's obviously way easier. So
Does it worry you that since you've become the government welfare that they kind of get addicted to that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you want to go and scrub toilets if there's somebody who's willing to
Yeah.
just make sure you can live comfortably within reason,
Yeah. I got
So
spoiled with Alejandra, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons why we're still together is because she had a job and she had aspirations, and now she's in school. And matter of fact, she's doing clinicals, and she's not even required to do them yet. She doesn't even start till next week, and she's there 8 hours a day, and she just loves it, and she's so
wow.
motivated. So it doesn't bother me to help her out
Yeah,
because I know that she's taking
She's
advantage of the
bettering her. Yeah,
opportunity. Right.
she's bettering herself. So eventually she could be financially independent.
Right.
exactly. That's fantastic. And she's thinking long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah, but the one I was telling you about where I put her in a house, I gave her every opportunity. She told me she was going to do this and that, and she was going to make this money, and then she just never did. And then
Oh wow.
finally, after a year, just finally had to cut her off because I saw no progress. I gave
Right.
her the opportunities. I felt like she didn't have the opportunities afforded to her that could help her grow. So I gave those to her, and then she blew it. She just did nothing with
Mm,
them. And
that's
it was disappointing on my end because I invested all this time and money, but I'm like, I can't continue to do this because you're not ever going to grow.
yeah. Well, I'll keep you guys updated for sure because there will be obviously either an end or some type of relationship
Yeah.
will change, as you say,
It's a tough situation because I enjoy helping people. Jay, you obviously enjoy helping people. It warms my heart to give people an opportunity to help them out of some stress. But My brother was kind of in a situation where my mom always helped him out and always bailed him out. And he never grew as a person until she died. And then when
Mm,
she passed away and he got arrested for drunk driving, spent some time behind bars and like in the local jail until he sobered up. That was finally a wake up call. And now he has blossomed. I am so proud of him. He did not grow up until he was 50, 51. He finally grew up. And it took his source, his comfort source, to go away for him to finally grow up. And now he's doing construction. He's doing remodeling. He started his own company. He's become responsible. He's paying all his own bills. And he has become a completely different person. And it's somebody now that I really enjoy talking to on the phone instead of getting just upset that he was sponging off of my mom for so many years. Not
wow.
saying that's going to be your situation, but that's kind of what I've been through helping people. It's such a tough fine line. It's like, where do you stop? Because,
Hmm.
they need help, obviously, or where they're going to get the help. And if you're there to support them and help them and you have feelings for her, or you enjoy the family, enjoy the situation, then why not? I encourage it and applaud you for that. It's such a slippery slope.
Hmm.
And that's why
Absolutely.
I get concerned when I'm like, okay, where's your feelings at? Where do you see this going? And how long do you see this financial outflow going? And then what measures are they taking to become self-sufficient, just in case Jay goes away?
Right, absolutely. I mean, she had thought about that already, and she's trying to get this laundry business going
Mm-hmm.
where, like it's like these laundry businesses that they run themselves. There's nobody actually manning it, and you just go and do laundry there. I mean, I use these places a lot in
Like
Europe.
the self-service laundry?
Exactly, the
Yeah.
self-service. So
Yeah.
she's hoping that would become, if I do the capital investment and that generates a cash flow for her, that might be enough for her to live on.
Okay, that's
So she
good.
had thought of it, and it's an easy business because, like in theory, unless the machines break down, she doesn't actually have to do manual hours there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's realistic that she knows I have options. Therefore, the idea of me disappearing, even I told her I would not abandon her. That fear is there and is a realistic one because that happened to her first husband already. And then there's the Austria girl
Yeah,
trying to
tell us a
take
little
care of.
bit more about the Austria girl.
So she has a family in Romania, and she is kind of the breadwinner for the family.
Now, she does quite well for herself, though, doesn't she? Because
It
she's
seems to be
working.
kind of all over the place. On her best night, she can make like 2,000 euros.
Well, that's
And
great.
on other days, she says like there's not really much happening either. So it seems to kind of wax and wane, and there's not super amount of consistency.
Yeah.
And it seems like that kind of work is not something that a person, or at least a woman, would enjoy forever.
Yeah, you're not going to be doing gentleman club work in your 50s, most likely in your 40s.
Yeah, I mean, she would tell me these stories of people that are either aggressive, drunk, or people that are just dirty or just not attractive, that she would have to obviously do what she's there to do. So it's quite different than sugaring because I feel like the women on there, they have definitely a choice of who they pick to have the meet and greet with, unless there's like nobody in their town and they're desperate and they need something right away. But for the most part, I feel like it's not too different than a dating site, except that there's the financial component right front and center. So with her, I've just been giving her like 1,500. And then like when I was with her, I kind of paid her for the whole day so that she wouldn't feel that she was missing out on making money. I felt okay about it because I felt like it helped her, and I don't really have that many days I can spend with her, so I might as well just do it during the time that I was there. And we had a really nice time. I really would love to see her again and see what happens.
Do
And
you have stronger feelings for one over another?
um,
Who's your favorite? Who's
favorite.
your
Oh my
favorite
God.
child?
I mean, there is this girl that I saw last night that is not from the sugaring world that we have a really nice rapport with. So there's that person. Oh my God, I'm losing track.
Where are you currently?
I'm in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay, so you met a girl there that you
Oh yeah,
are dating, just not sugar dating. You're
just not.
civilian dating.
Yeah, just civilian dating.
Do you ever
Yeah,
think
so
you'd
she
have so many options at 51?
definitely not. And I do kind of feel like it's one of these things where there's momentum that if you have no options, it's very hard to get like just the first
Mm-hmm.
going. It's like people saying you make the first million or whatever, And then once you have momentum, it seems like you just vibe a lot better. Maybe it's the rapport that you can create with women. It's a lot easier. Once you are at that level, it's not as challenging. And also, I want to thank Lilly for tweaking my bio or pretty much rewriting the whole thing because now I have just messages of people that came to me unsolicited, where before I would always have to do all the soliciting or whatever,
Good
writing
job,
myself.
Lily.
Yeah.
You're welcome. He shared with me a really nice message that someone had complimented him about his profile and how thorough and informative it was. He also added new pictures, a variety
Yes,
of
adding new
pictures.
pictures.
Yeah, so he's really shaped up his profile. And I told him, I go, now that's the kind of message you want to respond to because she actually wrote several complimentary and
Mhm.
uplifting sentences. And I go, isn't that so much better than, hi, daddy? And
I
you want to
know.
know what Jay said? Jay's like, I kind of like it when they say hi, daddy.
I don't have any kids, so it's okay.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not one of those men that don't want to be called daddy. I'm cool with it.
I still have to go back to my first episode titled Don't Call Me Daddy.
Jay likes to be called daddy.
Yeah, some do, some don't.
It's so weird. I wonder what it is. It's almost some primal weird thing or whatever. It's like,
I
why the
think it
women
can
like
be
hair pulling?
sexy and playful for
Yeah,
sure for some
that's
people.
yeah. But just like why do women like hair pulling and spanking? It doesn't make any sense.
I
Except
love
Oh,
in
it.
a
yes, it
primal
does.
caveman kind of thing.
I also love that meme where the father is having the talk with his son and he's like, now, he's trying to give him some advice about how to treat little girls. And he goes, now on the hair pulling thing, they kind of come around on that when they get older. Uh,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
So I wanted to go to Lily real quick because Trucker kind of found himself in a situation where he was supporting someone and then it ended and he just couldn't cut her off. And
So
you're like,
he still can't seem to disentangle from that. So he was dating a woman for 5 years, and at first it was wonderful and it was sexy and it was great. And then she really went through some menopause issues and she no longer, well, and also COVID. They went through COVID and he said COVID changed her into a completely different woman. She didn't want to go anywhere. She became a homebody.
was that because she
She
was paranoid of the virus?
I'm
Or
not sure,
she just
but
got used to that life
I
of
mean,
being at home?
she doesn't even go to the grocery store.
Hmm.
She
Wow.
Instacarts everything or DoorDash or
Yeah.
everything. And she'd stay in her pajamas all day and not even leave the house. They just kind of grew apart. But during the course of their relationship, when they started out, she had a job, she made decent money, and she bitched about her job every day. And he's like, it's fine. If you hate your job that much, you can quit your job and I'll take care of the finances. Well, she became 100% financially dependent on him.
Wow.
So when he wanted to break off the relationship, she's like, if you leave, I can't pay my house payment. I'm driving one of your company vehicles. I'll have no vehicle. I'm on your health insurance. You added me. And so it was really going to devastate her lifestyle. So he told her, you know what? I will give you, because she's got a college degree. She could get a job. She just doesn't want to work. She's begun living the life of luxury and really enjoyed it and kind of pulled away from society and doesn't want to re enter it. So she needs to work from home or something. And so he's like, I will continue paying all of your bills for a year. And she's just trying to milk it. It's been a year almost. She's just trying to milk it for at least another 6 months. She's trying to negotiate another 6 months. And what do you think is going to happen at the end of that 6 months? She's going to
Well,
try
of
to
course,
negotiate
yeah.
another 6 months. And he's such a kind-hearted, caring, generous guy. I mean, he feels bad. He's like, I kind of enabled her to get to this point.
Hmm.
And so I feel like I have to give her time to pull her head out of her ass. But I'm telling you, she's milking it for all
Well,
she's worth.
yeah.
Tucker and I can have a support group.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm
He's just a bleeding
definitely,
heart. He just
I know. And I think,
can't.
I mean, Jay understands that. I am as well. It's tough. Yeah. My mother was a bleeding heart for my brother. And
I
finally,
feel like I've been in that position with certain family members. I'm
hmm
not going to talk about it, but
oh, yeah,
I've had to
definitely.
recently disentangle myself from someone who really was kind of just bleeding me dry more emotionally than
Hmm.
financially, but I helped tremendously financially there too. It's hard. You stress if without me as a scaffold, is she just
Hmm.
going to completely fall apart? But, you got to let them try. I mean, she's a grown woman in her 50s. She should be able to
Well,
function.
I've learned some of the best lessons in life when I was at the bottom, when I'm struggling, trying to figure out where I'm going to go from here, how I'm going to scratch my way back up, how am I going to make it. And I come out even better than I was before, but it's tough. And when you care for somebody, it's hard to let them go through that because you see them struggling, you see them at the bottom. You just kind of lift them out of it, but sometimes you got to let them do it themselves.
Right.
Hmm.
So it's
Well, word
tricky.
on the street is she found a job, so that's good.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
there you go.
I think I mentioned this in the last episode. A thing that I think sugar daddies struggle with the most is whether the person is behaving in a way to kind of get what they want in terms of maybe the financial help. And it's like once you start to develop feelings and emotions for the person, coupled with the fact that you're not sure whether they are only saying these things because they need help, it just really causes so much confusion and doubt, whereas like a person that didn't have that need, that they're not, at least for the most part, saying I love you. There's no other, well, at least it's a little bit cleaner in terms of what they say to you and what you can believe that they say.
So has your girl from Spain been throwing around the L word?
Oh my God, she mentioned about getting an engagement ring 4 times in the last day we were together.
Oh my gosh.
The L word is an understatement. So yeah, but I mean, she said today, and it's kind of like because there is that financial element, it's so hard to get rid of that filter. And I can't tell like if she's saying it because she really needs help, whether she actually feels that. And there's so many naysayers in my life that assume the worst in her, say all these bad things about her. And that kind of taints my thinking as well in terms of how genuine she is as a person. So I wouldn't say that that's actually an easy thing to figure out because you can't really know what a person's real intentions are. It's like what they say, they can repeat over and over. I feel like for maybe from the sugar daddy perspective, it's almost like a block from letting go and really being in love with a person. Because when you're in love with a person, you're in a vulnerable situation. If they decide to do something, pull the rug out from under you, you're at their mercy and you're going to go through some serious heartbreak. Whereas
Well,
like,
and that's exactly why we say protect your heart. But here's
exactly.
my question for you, Jay. So you've been dating her off and on for 6 months, which isn't that long. How many consecutive days in a row have you been with her 24/7?
Oh, so we would kind of do these trips together. So she would leave her family in Madrid and then come up to kind of like an area near Barcelona. And so we would kind of travel together for like 10 days, 12 days, like around usually that block of time. So we're together quite a bit. And so we do get along pretty well, but then she can't really get away forever because she has to go back to her family.
Right.
So in that sense, I do kind of think that, there's compatibility there. But I do wonder, it would be, I mean, obviously for me, I would like to find somebody that I can just be with and maybe not just always be sampling at a buffet type thing. And how can I get past this block of always having doubts about the person's true motives? especially if you kind of talk to people that are not in the sugaring world. They're kind of, a lot of people I've noticed are much more black and white, that if you are somehow supporting them, kind of like the guy, Brian Howie, he just kind of made that comment that like if you're giving somebody whatever 3,000 a month, they're only there for the $3,000 and that's it. Kind of paints your perspective quite a bit. And there was somebody that actually mentioned that I remember, they said that if their sugar daddy cut them off, they'll be gone in a second. So when you hear that, that also kind of puts a little fear for somebody that's in my position, because you feel like then you really have to be quite protective and only take things for what they are at face value. That's like, well, if you spend a really nice night together intimately, just take it for that and that's it. Or have a nice dinner together and just enjoy for that and not really think about the future, you know? So,
Well, and here's why I don't think that you're ready to be even discussing the marriage word, much less the engagement word. We were just having a conversation, and you said ideally you would like to find someone who didn't have a bunch of obligations weighing them down so that you could travel on a moment's notice and wouldn't be a problem for them to pick up and travel. So somebody going to school, that's not going to work unless you're doing it in the summer. Somebody who has a career, that's not going to work. Someone who has children, that's not going to work. You need a person who's either retired or financially independent or maybe on a gap year or something to where
yeah.
they have that freedom
Mhm.
to enjoy kind of what you're looking to do right now when you're still young enough to do it.
Yeah, but then you
Yeah,
meet
absolutely.
somebody, you start having feelings, they make you
Mhm.
feel a special way, and then things change.
Yeah. I think with the Spanish girl, I wouldn't really go down that road of being married. But I do think that there are, like this one girl that I actually met, the civilian person, that she kind of does a job that she just does a contract and she might actually have time to travel. So we'll see. And the other thing that I kind of notice in the sugaring world is that because you're kind of having a chance to kind of sample, whereas like in the regular world, you pretty much find somebody and you become exclusive fairly whatever, like predictably. And so because you can kind of sample a bunch of people, you kind of realize that there are people that would offer you experiences that the other person or another person couldn't. It's just not who they are. So therefore, it's in some ways challenging to find one person that can fulfill everything that you want in life. The simplest way to put it is like even sexually, some people are into doing things that, where other people they only want missionary and that's it. So, and it's not really much you can do to talk them out of it because they don't want to do it. Whereas other people, they're very, very into trying different kinks or whatever, but yet they're a smoker, so it's hard to
Yeah.
have it all.
Oh,
Well, in the
yeah.
words of Amy, just settle for the least worst.
Is that what Amy said?
Yeah,
Somebody said
Amy
that.
said that a long time ago, and I got really depressed about it. I'm like,
I
The
know it's a
least
little
worst.
"What?
sad.
I gotta settle for the least worst?" That just really bummed me out when she said that.
All right.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
we are coming to the end, and I appreciate Jay. You kind of did this at last minute. We had another guest that was scheduled but didn't work out, so you jumped on, and always good to get an update. Like I said, your episode, which was 119, did really well. So if people want to go back and refresh their memory on that one, I highly recommend it. And what are your plans going forward this new year?
Oh, I want to come back down to see you guys soon. I actually kind of put some feelers out for the babies down there in Arizona. And honestly, this 14-degree wind chill here is unbearable. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And we're bitching because it's like 50 degrees.
oh my God.
Lily wears a parka when it gets down to the 50s.
Right. Well, yeah, you'll have to keep us updated. Sounds like you got a lot going on, women everywhere, money flying everywhere.
This man is not settling down
You
anytime
know,
soon.
Yeah.
You're
it's an
gonna have to
exciting
tell her
life,
to
but
drop
Oh, it
the
is.
engagement issue.
it can
Oh
be
yeah, no,
complicated.
I think it's just hard to, I feel like there's going to be a day of reckoning for me in terms of one person demanding exclusivity, and then I'm going to have to make some kind of decision, and that's just the challenging part, you know. And do I want to like forego this one person that potentially might be the person for me? Another big decision, you know. So
all right, well, we have got to wrap up. Lily, thanks for joining me, even though you're 3 hours away.
Yup.
Appreciate that. She had some family obligations. Jay, as always, thanks
Lily to the
again.
rescue, as usual.
yeah, always fun talking to you
Yeah,
guys.
but if you guys want to share your crazy sugar dating stories, go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. And then don't forget, we've got our Patreon up and running, and we are putting previews of the episodes before anybody else can hear them. They're going to be on there. And so,
And there's a really good one in there
oh,
right
there's a
now.
good one right now. Yes.
Did you listen to it?
I haven't yet, but I know it's a good one
Oh,
because
when I edited, I'm like, this one is gonna go crazy.
yeah.
People are gonna eat it up. It's so good.
But that's patreon.com/Secrets of a Sugar Daddy podcast. All right. Thanks again, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.